I know my answer. I don't know your answer.
How do you tighten this thing? All right. Fish with dairy? Depends. Okay, time. It's YouTube. It's live. It's not storing on my phone. It's streaming.
Then it saves on YouTube?
Yes. I think. Let me share this for Dr. Sofer. Hold on.
Put in his name.
That's what we're doing. Now you understand what Ronan's saying. Okay. So we have over here, sponsored by Yariv Greenberg, the Shi'ud, in memory of all the people that were murdered in Eretz Israel. And so definitely we want Hashem, first of all, to take revenge. We need revenge. We want revenge. Hashem in kum damam. And also, we want them to have aliyat neshama. So if we can learn some Torah for the merit of all these people that we lost, that'd be a beautiful thing. We're going to start with Gemara Pesachim, Rabotai. Pesachim 76. I circled it in red. You see it towards the end of the Gemara paper on page 1. Yeshua, you opening up? Gemara Pesachim, Ayin Vav Amud Bet. In red circle. Tane Rav Kahana. Rav Kahana, Bered Rav Hanina Saba. Rav Kahana, the son of Rav Hanina Saba, said the following. Pache Afa'a im Sali. Bread that was baked together with Sali, with a cooked dish. Sili, which is, this is Aramaic, so it might not be Sli, it might be Sali, what to see. It's talking about a meat dish.
It's Sli.
Okay, it's Sili, okay. Betanud in an oven, I gave up. Betanud in an oven, Asul le'ochla, you cannot eat it bekotha, with kotha. Kotha is a dairy dip. They used to dip the bread inside, like into a dairy dip. So if you have an oven, and you have meat in the oven, and have bread also in the oven, you can't, says this rabbi, you can't dip the bread inside the dairy dip. Rashi? No Rashi yet. Okay, almost. Let's see. Hahi beneta. There was a piece of fish. Look at Rashi on the bottom. I underlined it in red. Hahi beneta. Rashi says dag. There was a fish. The itva bahade bisra, that was roasted together with meat. It was roasted what? In the same pot? Rashi, yeah, very good. Rashi says, betanur ehad. There was in one oven. 2 pots, 1 oven, 2 pans, 1 oven. One was fish, 1 was meat. Good question. Good question. We don't know yet. Asra Rabba. Asra Rabba Mifarzikia. Rabba from Farzikia said it's asur lemichle bechotha, to eat it with this dairy dip. Since the bread was in this oven the same time as the meat, this rabbi from the town of Farzikia said you can't dip the bread in the dairy dip. Mar Barabashe Amar. Mar Barabashe says, Afilu b'milhanami asura. Even if you just want to eat the bread with salt and no dip, just want to eat the bread alone, asura, it's forbidden. Mishum dekashia lereha, because it is hard for reha. What's reha? Rashi says,
No.
Bad breath. It gives you bad breath. And for another thing as well. What's the barahed? If you eat fish that was in the, so we're not talking about bread now. We're talking about there was fish in the oven and there was meat in the oven at the same time. Okay? So there was fish and meat in the oven. He said you can't take the fish. The first rabbi said you can't eat the fish with dairy. The meat made the fish meat. And the second rabbi said not only that, you cannot even eat the fish alone. You can't eat the fish with salt because it was in the oven at the same time as meat. Because it gives you bad breath if you have fish that was cooked with meat. And the second shot is, Rashi says, sara'at. It can give, God forbid, make someone sick and give him sara'at, leprosy, if you were to eat fish that was cooked in the same oven as meat. Not even dairy involved, which means
It has to be the same cooking at the same time.
so that's what the Gemara says. It's in the cooking and the oven at the same
If it
time.
was meat
So
cooked first, then you take it out, you put the fish, it's okay, not salad.
that's not, yeah, the Gemara's not talking about that. Now, let's see one Tosafot, guys, and we'll dive into this. If we're good, Ezra? You're good? Guys, this is going to be a two-part shi'ud. The halakha l'ma'aseh, the bottom line halakha, will be next week. What are they talking about? What's going on? Because basar and here they're saying basar and dag is asur. From the Torah, and that's the next thing in my look at the next piece.
It's only if it's cooked together.
Hold on, look at the next piece. By now we should know the drill.
Give him a chance to teach,
It's
question
coming.
and answers after.
All the information you need is coming. Look at the next piece I put. What did I put here? Shemot Chav Gimel. Shemot chapter 23. Shalosh פעמים בשנה יראך זכורך פני Adon. Adonai 3 times a year on the 3 festivals you should see Hashem. Lo tizbach hames dam zemchi v'lo yadim ha'lev hagi al-boked, and the famous final pasuk. Reshit bikore admatecha tavi bet Adonai Elohecha lo tebashel gedi b'halev imo. Everybody knows this pasuk. You should not eat a calf in the milk of its mother. This is the source for basar v'halav. This is the source of you cannot cooking. Sorry, very good. Cooking. This is the source of basar and halav, dairy and meat. We know it says it 3 times, right? It says 3 times in the Torah this pasuk. Lo tebashel gedi b'halev. 1 is coming to teach you can't cook it together, meat and milk. 1 is coming to teach you cannot eat it together, meat and milk. And the 3rd one is hana'ah. You cannot even sell meat and milk. So you cannot have McDonald's. You can't own a McDonald's if you're a Jew. You cannot have hana'ah from meat and milk. Okay, so you cannot sell meat and milk. My brother is actually a chef. Huh?
Like a partner.
Yeah, partner, non-Jewish. But my brother's a chef. And when he went to culinary school, they wanted to cook meat and milk. It's a big question. Is it called hana'ah? If he's going to pass the test because he cooked the meat and milk, they wanted to do certain things. So it's a question. You definitely can't sell it. You cannot sell meat and milk. If you're going to get the job in McDonald's, it's better you cook the hazir than cook beef with milk. All right? Let's see the Mishnah. So this is the source. It doesn't say anywhere in the Torah you cannot eat meat and fish. This is a brand new thing our Gemara is saying. Meat and fish can give sara'at or bad breath. So far, so good?
But how did the doctors become kashrut to health?
Very good. So there's 2, it's a good point. So there's 2 separate issues. Yossi's hitting the nail right on the head. There's 2 separate issues. There's halacha and there's biriut, health. And I'm going to show you this in the Shulchan Aruch. Rambam, page 3. Halav. Halav is fat. Halav, dairy. Halav, milk.
כן, כתוב, מה שכתוב,
No, halav. Yeah, halav, not halav. Halav, faddal, cook it in the fat. Halav is good. Halav is no good.
But not if it's bread or fish.
Well, we're talking about meat now. Let's see the top. Rambam. We're going to build this halakha from the bottom, and we'll explain eventually, slowly but surely. We'll give you all the information that you need. I promise you. Rambam on top, page 3. Pat she'afa'a imatzali, bread that was cooked with meat dish, v'dagim she'sela'an imabasar, and fish that was roasted with meat, just like the Gemara said. Asur le'ochlam b'halav. You cannot eat them with dairy. That's an interesting word that Rambam added. B'halav, you'll see, yeah? The Rambam should have just said asur le'ochlan. You can't eat the fish. Fish and meat, fish cooked with meat, he should have said asur le'ochlan. You cannot eat them. He says asur le'ochlan b'halav. You can't eat that fish with dairy.
Actually makes more sense.
What if I don't have the dairy and I just have the meat and the fish? Can I eat the fish? It seems like it's more lenient than the Gemara. Also a good question. We'll get there. Well, Well, you know the we have to build. We're gonna build. We're gonna
Depends on
build.
which Faradimio.
So you see the Rambam? So Rambam says from the letter of the law. Ay, ay, ay. Guys, this is the Gemara Shi'ur. So this is the point of the Shi'ur is not to teach you the halakha. The point of the Shi'ur is to teach you how to build the halakha. How do you know why? Why Ashkenazim? Someone walks to you in the street, Mordechai, and says, "Why Ashkenazim don't and Sephardi do? Why? What's the reason?" No. So you should be more intelligent. The point is you should be intelligent. You should know the reasons for all the halakha. That's what we're building now. Okay. You have a tray or a pot that you ate meat on this, and then you cook with the same utensil the fish. Says Rambam, you can eat that fish with dairy. You cook the fish in a meat pot or a meat pan. That it's meat equipment. Says Rambam, you can still eat it with dairy. Anybody argue with this halakha? It was good.
Okay.
Even not the letter of the law. Even not. Shaarey says right. So this is Shaarey. So there's a.
So the opinion is you can't transform the fish into meat.
So there's a rule in the halakha called noten ta'am bad noten ta'am. It's a double taste pet transfer. It's complicated, but the bottom line is, since you're cooking the fish first with the meat utensil, and then you're gonna go eat it with the dairy, it's removed and it's allowed. We're gonna get to Shaarey in a second. But Rambam doesn't say this halakha. The Rambam doesn't say you cannot eat fish and dairy. It doesn't say it. Let's see the case of Mishnah, which is written by the Bet Yosef, Maran Bet Yosef. Beperek Ketzad Solin. This comes from this perek that we learned right now, Zahim 76. Tanir Rav Kahana Biled Rav Hanina B'Sabah, Pache Afa'im Salim B'Tanur Asul Le'ochla B'Chutha. If you had bread that was cooked in the same oven as meat, you cannot dip the bread in meat. Watch out, it's wet here. In dairy. Hahi Bineta, there was a piece of fish. Di'it V'ya B'Hadeh Bisla that was cooked with meat. Asrar Abba Mefarzikya L'Michva B'Chutha. Just like the Gemara said, if the fish was cooked with meat, you cannot eat it with dairy. The Katav Harif and the Rif writes that feeling mandamar riha lav miltahi asur upidush Rashi behadib bisar betanun ahad. It's a mahloket in the Gemara. I don't want to get very deep into this. Very, very simple. There's a mahloket. Pay attention. There's a mahloket between Rav and Levi, whether riha miltahi or riha lav miltahi, which basically means when you have steam from other food products in the same oven, does it come over into the other thing? If I have a pig cooking in my oven, and in a separate pot I have kosher beef cooking in the oven, does it make the kosher beef asur or not? Riha means like steam. Steam miltahi, it matters, or lav miltahi, that's nothing. And so with the Gemara we hold it's riha miltahi, steam matters, and therefore you can't put things in the oven at the same time as not kosher. So therefore, that's what the case of Mishnah is saying here. Even if you hold riha lav miltahi, even if you hold the riha doesn't count, the steam doesn't count, still you cannot mix the fish, the meat and the fish. And if you go to the Tur, which is written by the Arba'a Turim, which is written by the son of the Rosh, Ashkenaz, as we know by now, guys. And so on page 3, halachot basar b'halav in the Tur. Isur basar b'halav kitiv, lo tebashir kitiv b'halev imo. It says you should not cook the calf in the milk of his mother. V'ne'emar gimel pa'amim, it says it 3 times by Torah. Echad isur bishul, 1 for cooking. Ve'echad isur achila, 1 for eating. Ve'echad isur hana'ah, 1 for benefit. Why does it use the word cooking to refer to eating? It should say you should not eat the calf. The cooking word works for everything. The rabbi said everything's asud. We're not only talking about a gedi, not only a calf. It's all meat, all kosher meat. Same thing applies to the laws of meat and milk. Applies to an ox, applies to a sheep, applies to a goat. It doesn't matter if it's milk It doesn't matter if it's his mother's milk or another person's milk. When it says in its mother's milk, it's just saying it uses a term that makes sense. If you have a cow, you have a calf, you milk the mother, you slaughter the calf. It doesn't mean it's strapped and it's limited to that law. The laws of meat and milk only applies to kosher meat. Kosher meat. Huh?
Non-kosher, you'll never have the debate anyway.
Non-kosher is good fish. So that's why I said it's better to cook pig than beef with milk. Huh? It's a kosher species though. It only applies with kosher beef products and kosher milk. Abba, kosher animals. Yeah, thank you. Kosher animals, milk, and kosher animals, beef. Abba basar tehora. Hold on, let's finish. Abba basar tehora, but a kosher animal flesh. B'halav behema teme'ah, with let's say camel milk, which is not kosher. Or basar teme'ah, or let's say camel meat. B'halav tehora, with cow milk. Or basar haya be'of, afilu b'halav tehora. Eno elo midrabanan. That's all forbidden from the rabbis, but from the Torah, it's only kosher beef and kosher milk.
Well, why would you do it according to Torah?
Why would you do it? You want to sell it.
And,
I want to sell it.
but there's another distinction from,
The law of benefiting is only from the kosher ones. So it's from the Torah.
so there's another step to that. From the Torah, it's only beef milk and beef, right?
Kosher.
But so you could take theoretically kosher goat milk and cook it with kosher beef and be okay.
No, because he's saying when the Torah says it, it means all kosher. From the Torah, you can take the kosher. You can't feed this to a Jew. You're not going to find a loophole to feed it to a Jew. But from the Torah, there are loopholes to feed it to non-Jews or to have a restaurant.
So non-kosher milk cooking together.
From the Torah, it's not an
From the
issue.
rabbis,
From the rabbis, it might be a suit. I don't know for sure if it's both.
that's from McDonald's.
No, it goes by the species of the cow. It doesn't matter. It's a kosher beef, McDonald's. What's wrong? What up? Okay, so we have to wait. We have to wait. What page are you on? What page are you on?
אנחנו לומדים גמרא לא הלכה right
You trust me? You trust me? We're coming. Everything's going to be touched. Everything. I earned it by now. He's reading ahead. I'm like, don't read ahead in the booklet.
Don't
One page at a time.
Don't give him the booklet.
Seriously, I'm going to give one page at a time.
Yeah.
Don't read ahead. Okay. Bet Yosef. Guys, the Bet Yosef on the bottom of page 3, Mordecai, when the guy stops you in the street and says, why don't you eat if you don't eat fish and meat? This is the answer. Fish and dairy, sorry. This is it, guys. It's all this Bet Yosef. This is what we were talking about. That's why it's in red. This is the whole thing, guys. Look at the bottom of page 3, circled in red. Dagim behagavim mutar leochlan behalav. You are allowed to eat from the halacha, fish and dairy. Now, it says in the Gemara, Kol basar asur lebashel behalav. All the meat is forbidden to cook with dairy. Chutz mibasar dagim hagavim, except for fish. Fish is fine to cook with dairy. Hagavim is grasshoppers, no?
Yeah.
The Chatav Haran, the Ran writes, there are kosher grasshoppers. Yeah.
7 different ones, right?
Every question I have to wait like 30 seconds.
Okay,
The
next.
Chatav Haran, the Ran writes, I lost it. Guys, yes? The Chatav Haran, Tekivan dilibishilan shari, since you're allowed to cook them, mashma dileochlan behalav nami shari, then you should also be allowed to eat it. The isur basar behalav belashon bishul afkiya rahmana v'chei davar amba minashba dileochlan behalav nami shari. Look at the last line. This is the Bet Yosef. Umikom makom, says the Bet Yosef. In le'echol behalav. Don't eat them with dairy. Mipnei hasakana, because it's sakana, it's dangerous. Dagim, fish and grasshoppers. You see what he says? Where does he get this from? Don't eat them with dairy, because it's dangerous. Like I will explain, these are important words, guys. Like I will explain in Siman 173 Or HaChaim. We should probably go check that Siman. Huh? Yeah. We're talking about tagim. Because it's sakana, the whole dangerous eating.
But here it says mutar, but later it says
Right.
sakana.
He says mutar, and then he says, however, don't do it.
Don't try this.
Don't eat the fish and the dairy, because sakana nefashot. So question number one, the bashel here, because it's not sakana to cook, it's sakana to eat. Why is that a problem? Yoshua, you could take poison and cook it. What's that going to do to you?
So why do you cook it?
Don't do it. Don't. It's mutar al pi halakha. But le'ochlan, he says you shouldn't do it because it's sakana. First,
It's like
no.
you're allowed to step off a cliff, but you should do it.
First, he says the halakha. The halakha is it's allowed. There's a saying in the Torah. First, he says the halakha. Mutar le'ochlan behalav. You can cook it, you can eat it. That's the halakha.
Says eat it.
And then at the end, he says, however, you shouldn't. Does it
Yes.
work?
Both
Now,
both of them.
Because it's
Right.
sakana. It's halakhically okay, but it's dangerous.
so two questions
That's what
here.
it sounds like.
Number one, where did he get this from? Our Gemara said what? Our Gemara said fish and meat is a sakana. Remember the Gemara? The Gemara said fish and meat in the same oven, bless you. Don't dip that fish in dairy. And then the second opinion says, don't dip the fish in salt. Don't eat that fish because it was with meat and it's sakana for sara'ah. Where'd you get dairy from? Who said anything about dairy? And number two, he's contradicting the beginning of the halakha. First he says it's allowed, then he says don't do it. So you could answer that and you can say first he's doing halakhic.
But
Yeah.
that would be a tough one because we know halachic is very specific about don't do dangerous things.
But there's two separate halakhot and I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you.
שאומר, מותר לאוכלה, לאכול נגיד דגים עם גבינה, בסדר. אבל כשאתה מבשל את זה, זה כבר סיפור אחר. Different thing. If you cook,
Why is he so stuck
if you
on the
take the food, the fish, and you cook it with the milk, it's different.
to eating or Yeshua, why Lama, what's with the bishul? Why are you so
He wants to know why is it allowed to do and not
to
follow through and eat it.
לא, אבל לא
He has to read it
הוא
again.
אומר לאכול.
He needs to read it again. Moshe, tell him to read it again.
גם מותר לאכול וגם מותר
Look, read the first 4 words.
אבל הוא אומר, עדיף לך שלא. אז זה השאלות שהוא
Moshe, explain to him. He's not machriya cooking and eating. It's about cooking and eating is the same thing. The first 4 words, dagim v'hagavim mutar le'ochlan.
No, בסדר, we move down to the question that you're asking. Why would he...
What do you say? That's our first now.
גם זה לא.
ADHD class. We're not talking hagavim now. Let's focus.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
Focus.
So who said this? Maran HaBet Yosef, Yoshua. These are the words of Maran Bet Yosef. Maran Bet Yosef is our rabbi, Sfaradim. We go by him. And so do we follow his words even though it doesn't seem to make sense? Look at the Shulchan Aruch. Now, why did I paste this Shulchan Aruch here? Why did I put Shulchan Aruch 173 here? Why? Because he just said.
Because he said, I'll explain like a man.
So let's go see what he said. Now, if he said, like I said in Siman 173, and it's there, the same halacha, okay? What if he says, like I said in 173, and it's not there in 173?
No, sir, it'll be a reference, there'll be something.
Let's see. Here's 173. Ma'im imsa'im. Ma'im imsa'im is talking about washing between fish and the meat. Okay? Not ma'im haronim, ma'im imsa'im, the middle washing. Ma'im imsa'im reshut. Ma'im imsa'im is not a hobah like a haronim. V'hani mili ben tafshil tafshil. That's if you're just eating regular meals. About ben tafshil gabina, you want to eat meat. and the one you want to eat fish after, or the opposite, hobai, of course, you must wash your hands. Ben basal ledagim. I know. Meat and then dairy. I know. Ben basal, the second part. I know. I can't get sidetracked and everything. Ben basal ledagim. Between meat and fish. Hobal litol, you must wash your hands. Mishum de kashala de barahed. Because if you eat the fish and the meat in the same mouth without washing the same fingers, it's sakana, the barahed, sarah, just like the gemara said.
We use forks today.
Okay, just like the gemara, it's the mouth though. Oh, hold on. Just like the gemara said, meat and fish. The hamida sakanta mi isura. Sakana is much more strict than isur. Sakana, we don't joke around. So therefore, you have to wash between. If you touch with your hands, let's say for now, halakha l'maaseh, we'll do all next week. You have my guarantee. Let's just say if you touch the fish with your hand on Friday night, and then you want to eat the meat, sakana nefashot, like the Gemara says. Maran Shulchan Aruch told us we would find more about this dairy and fish thing in this siman. Where is it? It's not here. What was he talking about?
Okay, again about fish and
So it's a big problem.
It's an error.
So let's see the next thing. Derechei Moshe. Who wrote the Derechei Moshe, Itai? You know this. Derechei Moshe was written by? No. Derechei Moshe?
Moshe, you should know.
He's Ashkenaz. He knows Ashkenaz. Who wrote it? No, the Ramah. The Ramah wrote that at Derechei Moshe. Israelis. Oh, I thought you said Iskevitz. Sorry.
No.
I apologize.
No, I said it's good.
It all sounds like oh, Israelis. He did say it's good. It's like Israelis.
I meant the Rama.
Okay. Says Derechei Moshe. V'lo ra'iti. We're on page 4. V'lo ra'iti miyamai. I never saw in my whole life nizharim bazeh. People care about fish and dairy. V'gam ben Hai siman kuf ayin gimel. I'll show you later. Eno ela shelo le'ochlo le'basar. He says don't eat fish and meat. Mishum sakana, because it's dangerous. Why can't you eat fish and dairy? No problem. Therefore, it seems that the rabbi got mixed up. Maran Bet Yosef, and he meant to write, don't eat the fish with the meat, and he wrote the word halal. He made a mistake. That's the only answer. Maran Bet Yosef.
Made a mistake.
Next one, Turei Zahav, page 4. Turei Zahav is the Taz. Let's see what the Taz writes. The Bet Yosef Katuv, it says in the Bet Yosef, don't eat fish and dairy because it's dangerous. It's a publisher's editor's mistake. It cannot be that he wrote this. He meant to write with meat and fish. Dairy and fish, who cares? Also look at the Derechei Moshe we just read. He got mixed up over here. The Levush quotes the Bet Yosef. He says you cannot eat fish and dairy. It's not true. It's a mistake. Magen Avraham. What's the common denominator between all these rabbis?
Mistake.
They're all Ashkenaz. Magen Avraham Ashkenaz. Yesh noagim litol ben gevina ledagim. Some people wash between dairy, cheese, and fish. Where they get this from? From what the Bet Yosef wrote. Siman Pezain, the sakana lechol givna dagim. It's a sakana, dangerous to eat fish and dairy. Uchbar katab b'darchei Moshe. The Darchei Moshe already wrote ta'ut soferhu. It's a printer's mistake. Sham b'Bet Yosef. V'trich chomad dagim u'basar. He meant to say fish and meat. V'chei katav Aharonim, and so too the Aharonim wrote. The kashal devar acher. It gives sarat. God forbid, dangerous to have meat and fish. Ve'efshar, says the Magen Avraham, maybe the bizman hazeh en sakana kol kach. Maybe these days he's trying to say maybe it's not a mistake. Maybe he really meant it, but it doesn't apply anyway. The Ashkenaz talking, Ashkenaz. Ve'efshar, the bizman hazeh en sakana kol kach. Maybe these days it's not dangerous anymore. Techazilam kama devarim hamuzkarim b'gemara shem sakana leruach ra'ah u'sh'ad devarim. We see the Gemara says lots of things are dangerous for ruach ra'ah, evil spirits, and all these things. And nobody gets hurt these days from doing any of these things. Did I pronounce that right on end? The nature, the nature of people changed. And the lands are different. Every land has different, every region has different nature. Check over there. He gives you somewhere to look. And so therefore, these three Ashkenaz rabbis all say boom, 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 and there's more.
Doesn't one of them refer to Ben Ish Chai?
Yeah, I'm going to show you later. And boom, 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 also the Prisha, which the Perisha, also says Ta'ut Sofer. He's reading ahead. What page are you on? What page are you on? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. You know what? It's probably not the Ben Ish Chai. It might be the Orchot Haim. It could be the Orchot Haim. Because the Ben Ish Chai doesn't use Simani. He uses Parashiyot. Good point, both of you. Yeah. Gemara says so. I'm going to give you the halakha next week. We're going to do it. You have my guarantee. You have a money back guarantee. We'll get to the halakha. But they rather argue. It's coming. It's all coming. The halakha is all coming, I promise.
This is the most expensive one so far.
Huh?
It's the most acrimonious one so far.
What does that mean? What does that even mean?
Like the most,
It's weird, right?
no, the most argument.
Oh yeah, it's but they should know by now. It's coming. It's all coming.
Thursday.
Pat she'afeu imatzeli. Bread. This is Shulchan Aruch Yoreh De'ah Sadi Zayin. So I'm jumping around. There's the few Shulchan Aruchs that talk about this. Shulchan Aruch says bread that was cooked with meat, b'dagim she'sela'an b'tanur echadim basar, and fish that was cooked in the same oven as meat. Asur le'ochem b'halav, says Shulchan Aruch. You see this?
Yes.
You can't eat that fish with dairy. Oh, what about now with dairy? No, look at read it again. B'dagim. No. The comma goes after tzli. No. What is the famous saying? It goes, I ate my grandmother. It depends where you put the comma. How does it go?
What is it? Let's eat kids.
Let's eat grandma.
No, let's eat kids.
Yeah.
Let's eat,
comma.
Not
let's eat grandma. Let's eat, comma, grandma. Pachi afu imatzeli, comma. Not pachi afu imatzeli v'dagim. Pachi afu imatzeli. That's one case. Bread with meat. Next case. V'dagim she'sela'an b'tanur echad im basar. Okay. I told the ladies once, Yeshua, there's a story about a rabbi who was swimming in the swimming pool, and there's a big sign, and the sign said outside, attention, swimming, no swimming allowed. And so the guy says, why are you swimming in the pool? He says, what are you doing? It says, swimming? No, allowed. It depends where you put it. So, yeah, dagim. Dagim, case 2. Dagim she'sela'an b'tanur echad. Fish that's in the oven with meat. Asur le'ocham b'halav. You can't eat the fish with dairy. Can you eat the fish without dairy?
Yes. Not according to the guy who said you can't even have it with salt.
I mean, you can't draw a conclusion on this one because it doesn't say one way or another. It just mentioned
So this is the Gemara. By the way, guys, pay attention. He's about to talk about a Tosafot, which I wanted to read to you. I forgot. So hold this page. Go back to page 1. There's a Tosafot there.
But to your question, can you do it?
So the Gemara said,
I'm saying you could perhaps assume that you can because they're isolating a case with meat, which then makes you feel that other cases should be allowed.
Yeah. Hold on. Let's Tosafot, page 1. My brain's not working that fast. Page 1, Tosafot. Asra. I underlined it in red. Tosafot's on the right side. Asra Rabba Mifarzikia. Rabba from Farzikia said you cannot eat it, the fish, if it's in the oven with the meat. Yeah?
That was the first thing we
That was
talked
the first thing we said, because the Shulchan Aruch Spectre talk about this was forth. Mikan posek Rabbeinu Tam. From here, Rabbeinu Tam says, Kerav, that we hold like Rav, which means, like I told you, Riha miltahi. Steam matters. Now, look, skip ahead to where the fourth line of Tosafot. Ubetanurim gedolim shelanu. You see this? Ubetanurim gedolim shelanu. In our big ovens, nir'eh demutar le'efot lechem imoto pastida. Pastida is like a lahamajin. Pastida, right? Like a lahmajin. No, it's like a meat. No, it's like a meat pie. No, a shepherd's pie. No. What is it? They use it these days. It's a meat pie. No.
Casserole, yeah, casserole.
They still eat it now. Pastida, they call it. Pastida. It's a thing. No, this has basar. So Tosafot says if you have a really big oven, it's okay. Interesting. And since the pie is covered, hetev is covered good. It's like two. Now, how big does the oven have to be? Lefi Tosafot. So I'm going to show you now. So let's go back to where we were. Shulchan Aruch. We were on Shulchan Aruch on page 4. V'hani mili b'tanur katan. This is only in a small tanur, in a small oven. Ala b'tanur gadol, if you have a big oven, hamahazik shenem asad esronim, that can hold 12 esronim. Upiv patuach, and the mouth of the oven is open. Mutad, it's allowed. B'matzili michusa, if the dish is covered, v'chen pashtida, that the hole is covered, mutad afil b'tanur sad, it's allowed even in a small oven. This is Shulchan Aruch.
How opens with the door? They say open.
Open, yeah. He says if the door is open, but he says if the pots are covered, he says it's allowed. Which
But
we
if
know.
only one of them's covered.
I think it's allowed still.
And what does it matter if it's the fish or the meat that's
I
covered?
don't think it matters. No. And so now he says if the oven is huge, how big is this 12 isronim? How big is that? Be'eretev.
It's one that's maybe.
Very good. Be'eretev, 12 isronim. V'shi'ur, I'm on the bottom of 4. V'shi'ur isaron, you know how big one isaron is? Hu shi'ur hala. It's the same shi'ur of hala. V'hu mem gimel betzim. V'homesh betza. It's 43 and a fifth v'homesh. 43 and a fifth eggs. Look at the parentheses. Kiminyan hala, the gematria of the word hala. 43. V'homesh is in the head. So hala and 43 and a half.
12 of those. 12 of those.
43 and a half betim times 12 would be a big oven. That's big. It's a lot.
But they used to have community. I know in Egypt they used to do it. Come Shabbat.
So if you have,
he brings their tameh, and they come and
what's the math? What's 43 times 12?
43 times 12.
516.
560. Yeah.
515.
430 plus 86. 560.
Inside the tunnel. Yeah. Yeah. So if you have an oven that big, Shulchan Aruch says it doesn't matter because the steam is not going to go from one to another.
It's not even a commercial
If
oven.
you have a small oven and it's covered, it's okay. Like Tosafot. You hold the Tosafot. Look at the Kaf HaChaim, page 5. Kaf HaChaim, hamahazik yod bet esronim, that holds, a big oven holds 12 esronim. V'chol isaron hush yud hala, mem yud gimel betzim. 43 betzim v'chomesh betzah. Same thing as the Be'eretev said. And so it's also sparadim. Kaf HaChaim was the same thing. Look at the next Kaf HaChaim, Lamed Zayin. Pachi afol masiri, bread that you cooked with meat in the oven. The bar barur, who is clear. The lo shayach riha, that the whole steam factor only applies. Ela dafka betanur, only in an oven. About im nitzluze etzel zeh below tanur, if you roast it side by side and not enclosed in an oven, meat and fish, leka mishum reha, there's no steam problem. She'areach mitpazer v'holech, the steam will just go out and disintegrate in the air.
Yeah, he brings the we all
That's why the dalet is open. It's going to be fine. Next, Kaf HaChaim. בדגים שסלעים איתנו לחנים הבשר, בכאן לא איידי אלא מדין אסור איסורה. Yossi, this is what we're saying. Kaf Haim says, בכאן לא איידי אלא מדין איסורה. Now we're only talking about isur beheter, the letter of the law. About l'nyetza kanta, but the sakana nefashot is a whole nother situation. Yitpa'el lekaman in siman kuftet zayin. Go look over there for the sakana. So it's the Shulchan Aruch separates the law from the danger. And so Kaf Haim says, go look over there, siman kuftet zayin. What do you think that's going to do for you? Is show you kuftet zayin. So let's look at it. Kuftet zayin Shulchan Aruch. The following things are forbidden because they're open, like open water overnight, for example. Mashkim shenitkalu, if you have liquors that are revealed and open, asirum hakamim, the rabbi said they're forbidden to drink the next day. Maybe a snake ate from this drink from this water. The eris, the poison. These days we don't have snakes walking around our house, and so therefore it doesn't apply anymore, says the Shulchan Aruch. Ruach Ra'ah, Shulchan Aruch says it's allowed. One second. Kaf Haim. Yeah, it's Kaf Haim. Pa'am Ahat, this is interesting. Pa'am Ahat be'id Baghdad. One time in the city of Baghdad, they forgot an open soup, let's say, open cooked food, a tafshil, and they didn't cover it overnight. And people from the family ate this. They got sick. They got very endangered. And everyone says, this tafshil, rahash alav shememit. What is that?
It's a lizard by
yeah. And it put from its saliva on it. Because of that, everyone got sick. Like it says over there. Okay. If I pronounce it right. These days you should be careful not to have water not covered at night.
So you get covered right.
Yeah. This is tried, tested, and proven. The saliva of this creature has poison, venom. You should not leave something open overnight. However, Hashem protects the fools. So if someone doesn't do it, he'll be protected by Hashem, God willing.
By the way, Pashtidah is kish.
Now.
Kish, yeah. Okay, next Kaf Haim, guys, we're almost done. What time did we start? Next Kaf Haim. Says Shulchan Aruch, these days it doesn't apply because there's no snakes. But in the western lands, there's a lot of snakes and scorpions in the Arab countries, says Kaf Haim. Even in Yerushalayim over here, there's creatures walking around. You know, anyone know what that last word means? What is that? Oh, it's
side of the roof.
Yeah, it's surrounding areas. Even though they're not around here a lot, they are around here. You should be very careful if you care about yourself to not leave things open. In Egypt, they left something out. Everyone got sick. And people from the house died. Why should we take a chance when it comes to sakana? In Israel, we're careful. Yosef is the words of the Chidah.
Are we sure these are reptiles and not a lack of refrigeration that's causing it?
I don't know. Even water. What's the point of this? We're trying to get to the fish and dairy. So, but I brought this beginning. ועכשיו שאין החשים says בכף החיים, ובלאו הכי, אפילו היא לא חשינה לגילוי, even if we don't care about it these days, מכל מקום צריך להיזהר הרבה. You have to be very careful with open drinks. ולחסות בתבשיל בלילה, משום דמצויים שם נמלים ותולעים. There's ants, there's worms. והתערבו בתבשיל, they'll get in there. ועוד חשינה דיאכלו ממנו העכברים, ועובד משום בל תשקצו. ועל כן ראו לכל ירא שמיים שיזהר בזה הרבה, ויכסה התבשיל בלילה ואפילו ביום. You should always be careful to cover your dishes, says בכף החיים. ולאו דווקא התבשיל, not only to cook food, אלא כל דבר שיש לחוש שיתבדקו בו יתושים או פרעושים. וכתומה צריך להיזהר לחסדם בטוב. You have to be careful to cover your stuff. That was the first thing of Shulchan Aruch about sakana nefashot. And I give you the kaf hayim after it. Next part of Shulchan Aruch. צריך להיזהר, ready יוסי? צריך להיזהר שלא לאכול בשר ודג ביחד. You should not eat meat and fish together. Because it can give tzara'at. Where's the fish? Where's the dairy here? Where's the halav over here? Where tamshich? Yeah. What? What are you reading? He's making it up. Marash Haruch in the laws of sakana, in the laws of danger, doesn't say halav with fish. Doesn't say it. Where are you? Kafa Haim. Stop going ahead. Kafa Haim. But let's just finish Shulchan Aruch. The third Shulchan Aruch. You should wash your hands between meat and fish. You should eat something parv in between. To wash your mouth out. We'll get into this halakha next week. Kafa Haim. Says Maran Shulchan Aruch, you cannot eat fish and meat together. Where's the dairy? Says the Kafa Haim. Finally, another person says it. You should not eat dairy and fish together. Like we said, Le'il Siman Pez Zayin.
Where did he get it from?
And why?
That's Yosef.
He's relying on the mistake.
How much more we have? Let's do one more. What time did we start? You know?
5 and 12.
Guys, let's do a little bit more and then we'll finish next week. Shulchan Aruch.
Started 6:30.
All right, couple more minutes. Shulchan Aruch Pezayin. Be'ezo basad noheg din basad behalav v'hech nechab bashul. These are the laws of meat and milk. Every Shulchan Aruch that I'm pasting for you is in a different place in the Shulchan Aruch. I hope you appreciate that. This is the laws of meat and milk. Eno noheg ela bebasad behemat teora behalav, like the Rambam we read, right? Or the Tud. It only applies to a kosher animal behalav behemat teora with kosher milk. But a kosher animal with unkosher milk, or an unkosher beef, like pork, with kosher milk, you can cook them, you can sell them. Thereof, birds and beasts, even with kosher milk, mutad b'bishul u'behana'a. You can cook it and sell it. The even regarding eating, it's only rabbinic. We know this. Chicken. About one second, let me finish. About dagim v'hagavim, but fish with dairy, en bahem isur afilu midrabanan. Is not asur, even rabbinic. Maran Shulchan Aruch, why didn't you put the sakana thing over here? If it was not a mistake.
Because it's not dangerous.
What's dangerous about it? The eagles and creatures.
Law.
And locked.
Your tuna melts.
There's no danger in there.
לא, בהמה לא טובה, אם חלפת או לא חלפת.
Does everybody understand the Shulchan Aruch we just read? Shulchan Aruch, let's let's summarize Shulchan Aruch. This is halakha l'maaseh Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch says, like we said before, the laws of cooking and selling, specifically cooking and selling meat and milk, only apply to kosher beef and kosher milk. If you want to have a restaurant and cook and sell cheeseburgers with kosher beef, kosher animals, and kosher milk, it's not asur, he says.
It's not.
Wait, with kosher.
Wait, no.
Kosher animals.
Kosher and kosher is asur.
Kosher, sorry, my apologies.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you. Not kosher beef. You want to sell pig
Not kosher
cheeseburgers,
animals.
not kosher
Pig
animals.
and halal Israel, you can do it.
Pig and halal, so you could do it, yeah. So if you want to be in the business, there are ways to do it. But you cannot sell a beef and milk cheese hamburger. You can't do it.
What if they mix a little bit of pork in with beef and it's okay?
I might go by the law, but I don't know. I might go by the law.
Animal.
We can expound on this next week.
Question on the benefit. Don't we have, unless I probably have that about. I thought you.
No. Lakela tashlichun oto.
You can.
Yeah, what do you do with not kosher food? Lakela tashlichun. Throw it to the dog. That's hana'ah. It's only meat and milk.
No, you can't feed a dog meat and milk.
Right. Only meat and milk is the benefit issue. Okay, and Yaniv. And the last thing he said was, when it comes to dagim, when it comes to fish, in bahim isur afilu midrabanan.
Even
So he said in Bet Yosef, you shouldn't do it. And now he's saying, even rabbinically, fish and cheese is fine. Fish and milk is fine. I want to do one.
Wait, this is two things.
This is Mahan Shulchan Aruch.
So he's contradicting himself.
Unless you say he's dividing halakha from sakana. That's the only answer.
So logically it's fine, but sakana is fine.
But then we should.
but sakana is even stronger. It's stronger.
Yes,
Guys.
section on sakana, right?
But again, it's
That's
sakana of that time. Today
doesn't
it's not
mention it either.
sakana.
So you can't say he divides.
Does everybody agree that all the rabbis who say it was a mistake, ta'ut sofer, mistake, they have a lot of weight? It seems to make sense what they're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, also just reading it.
Yes.
The lack of support when he says, look over there,
And it's not
explains
there.
it and it's not there.
Okay. Rabotai. What's his name again? Forgot his name. One more thing for tonight. We're going to go to the Chumash and read Rabbeinu Bahya. It's a pirush on the Mishnah on the Chumash. Last thing for today, and then we finish next week with all halakha l'ma'aseh. Bottom line, what to do, but we're going to read one Rabbeinu Bahya. Here it is on page 7. It's a really amazing Rabbeinu Bahya. It says in the pasuk, "Lo tebashil gedi b'halev imo." You should not cook the calf in its mother's milk. Says Rabbeinu Bahya. No, it's in Mishpatim. Ve'al derech hapeshat. According to the basic understanding, Ta'am ha-mitzvah, why can't you eat meat and milk? Ta'am ha-mitzvah is otavishu mitamtem mitalev, because it plugs up and covers your heart. Shariah halav na'asa min adam, because milk comes from blood. Like Gemara Nida says that a woman's blood turns into her milk. So the milk was blood. Ve'adam mazegora, mizgora, and the blood has a bad nature. Umolit achzariut. And it brings what's called brazenness, al-khazariyut. Cruelty. Thank you. Brazen is cruelty. One of the reasons why it's forbidden, it doesn't change the blood. It doesn't accept change. Like it doesn't get, I guess you would say, it doesn't get digested properly into the body. But the bad nature of blood, it stays in you without changing. Yes, even though it changes from blood to milk, and it takes a change. She will talk to the bottom head, it becomes something else. However, when you mix it again as milk with the meat, the blood that became milk is going back to being blood. And we don't want to do that, says the Rabbeinu Bahya. With the Abu Adishon, its original nature, like it used to be. This will plug up and cover your heart. ומוליד גסות ותכונה רעה בנפש האוכל. It will cause you to have bad nature if you eat meat and milk, just like if you eat blood. That's the first shot. That's the shot of the Ben Bahya. That's the basic. This is the opinion of the doctors. Dag ugvina. When you mix fish and cheese, says the Ben Bahya. The doctors tell us when they cook together, another person says it.
But the milk is converted to cheese.
Rabbeinu Bahya, who was a great
What
rabbi.
period are we talking about?
Long time. He was before the Ramban. He was like way back. He was a very great rabbi.
And after Shulchan Aruch?
The Chovot HaLevavot. It was Rabbeinu.
Wait, but he was after.
Someone Google it. Google it. You can Google it.
This is
Put
before
it
they
in
knew
Google.
about washing their hands.
Rabbeinu Bahya. He was a long time ago. Rabbeinu
But
Bahya.
he's talking about cheese.
Before
That's been
Shulchan Aruch?
converted, milk that's been converted to cheese.
Before Shulchan Aruch.
So he's already talking about.
I'm pretty
before.
sure. I don't want to make a mistake. Ronen,
And when you cook it, goes back
Moshe,
to
you
milk.
do Shulchan Aruch. Ronen do Rabbeinu Bahya. See who was first.
Right? He said it was cheese, which was milk converted to cheese.
We didn't differentiate yet. We don't want to put words in his mouth. Hold on.
1050.
He said cheese.
The year 1050. 1,000 years ago.
So he's way
No.
before Shulchan Aruch.
2020. Yeah, 1,000 years ago. Yeah, long time ago to Ben Bahya. The Ramban quotes him. The Nachmanides quotes him.
Shulchan Aruch, Rav, you want me to try?
Shulchan Aruch, no.
Period of time.
He was 600 years ago, maybe, right?
Yeah, like 13.
I think 600 years ago, Shulchan Aruch. Yosef Cairo. So therefore he says, this is a bomb, because now we have an early rabbi who has this as a source, that it's sarat. וכן דעת הרופאים בתערובות דג וגבינה, שנפשלו כאחד שמילא התכונן עם והכניס sarat. Fish and meat and dairy can bring sarat, he says. ומה שנזכרה מצווה זו לעולם עשר לחגים. Why does it always say, don't eat meat and milk by the holidays? Always with the holidays. שלוש רגלים, meat and milk. כדי להזהיר את ישראל העולים בכל שלוש פעמים לרגל, למקום הנבואה. Because we're telling the people who are coming to the Beit HaMikdash, a place of prophecy, it's a place where you're trying to get holy, don't ruin your heart on your way to the Beit HaMikdash with all these forbidden foods that cover you up. You should be ready and clear and pure to get the benefit of the holiday in the Beit HaMikdash. This is the last thing for today, guys. Rambam says, Rambam katav. So I guess he was after the Rambam. Rambam katav. He quotes the Rambam.
No, it was like 1200.
And Rambam
dies at 1120, born in 1000.
And Rambam was when?
Rambam.
He's born in Rambam.
900 something.
Okay, so the Rambam katav. There's two more paragraphs, guys. Thank you for staying. The Rambam katav as a time b'ta'amei mitzvot. The Rambam writes his reason. There's the chatting table. Let's stop it, Yossi, please ask him to stop.
Guys, 5 more minutes. Bakasha.
Yeah,
Come on. He's welcome to go home if you want.
The Rambam was born later, 1138.
I don't know. We have to figure it out. Guys, Yadi, please ask him to stop, please. 5 minutes. The Rambam katav as a time b'ta'amei mitzvot. The Rambam writes his reason. I know the Rambam. Rambam always is very, what's the word?
Reasonable.
Not in the clouds. Yeah, reasonable. It was the custom of idol worshippers. They used to eat meat and milk on the not Jewish holidays, says the Rambam. That was their custom. Therefore, that's why the Torah. Yes, they're not Jewish holidays. Therefore, the Torah says, don't copy. Yeah, not Christmas. They wish. Therefore, he says, don't copy the goyim. When you come to the house of Hashem, don't act like the non-Jews. Okay, next one. Last one. These reasons, they're not enough. They're not the real reason for the mitzvah. They're only to give an answer to someone who wants to know, to push someone away.
Who says it?
This is the- Yeah,
Says it?
yeah. All
So
these
it
reasons,
says on the Rambam
and his own reason.
on his own.
All these reasons are not the real reason.
Although he quotes the Rambam that was born after he died.
We have to figure that out. Shaarey mitzvah zu michlal hachukim hi. This is a hawk. Mina milk doesn't make sense. Michlal para aduma v'seir mishlaleach. It's just like para aduma. V'chen tajur hazal le'atil labo. It says in the future, HaKadosh Baruch Hu megaleh lahem l'Yisrael b'pnei masa b'tat v'ra basar b'halav v'para aduma v'seir mishlaleach. In the future, Hashem said, tell us why basar and halav is not allowed, which means now we don't know why it's not allowed. V'chivan sheken da'at ha'chamim sh'amitzvah azot misitrei ha'Torah. Since we know now that this is a secret of the Torah, when Mashiach comes, there's not going to be any timtum, so therefore there's no reason for this law anymore. And according to my reason, why should this mitzvah stay after Mashiach? According to the Rambam's reason, why should this mitzvah stay after Mashiach? There's no more Avodah Zarah. So therefore, it's going to stay. And therefore, there must be a deeper reason, which we don't know. Cheeseburger. It looks good.
Question.
Okay, we have to- So,
The Rambam is talking about Chayav La'amin B'Biat HaMashiach.
Moshe is asking, we're not going deep into this because it's very late.
I know, but
Very quickly,
he's saying something that.
very quickly. This is not Rambam. This is the Ben Abaki.
I know.
Moshe is asking if all the mitzvot of the Torah are going to stay after Mashiach. It is a fundamental, whoever's listening, fine. It is a fundamental of the Torah, that the Torah is forever. However, there are Ma'amare Hazal that it says, for example, Atid Hazid to be allowed. There's one Ma'amar Hazal that pig will be allowed. There's another pasuk, I will give you a new Torah. I'm going to bring you a brand new Torah. What does this mean? It's deep. The Torah is forever. However, there are some who would say that a Torah, the mitzvah, will be redefined in a certain way, and it won't apply. Maybe it will apply, but in a different way than we understand it. It's very deep.
Yeah, because
Guys,
the things that we're doing because they're Tunim, we don't necessarily have to do anything.
according to the Rambam, a lot of that we do is just Prabhu does that up. But hold on, guys. Where are we right now for next week? Bet Yosef says, the Gemara says fish and meat. Nothing about fish and dairy. Bet Yosef says fish and dairy, and then every place he tells you to check in Shulchan Aruch is not there. It doesn't say fish and dairy. We have the Kafa Haim who says fish and dairy don't do. And then we have now the Rabbeinu Bachye who says fish and dairy is no good, with a nice reason behind it. Because the blood became the milk, and the milk goes back to being blood. You don't want to drink blood.
But Rabbi Yosef says you can.
In Shulchan Aruch, he says you could. In Bet Yosef says you know. A lot of people say it's a mistake. What's the halakha l'maaseh? And what are all the different laws? Next week, halakha l'maaseh. Baruch Adonai Olam, amen, amen.